Good evening, welcome to SHOWstudio. So tonight we're going to talk about possibly one of the most exciting shows at London Collections Men, Jeremy Scott at Moschino, a collaboration made in heaven basically, an inevitably brilliant collaboration. So Sam, if you would like to do the intros.
Hi, I'm Sam Bayliss-Ibram, I'm a photographer.
Hi, I'm Frances Corner and I'm head of the London College of Fashion.
Hi, I'm Mimma Viglezio and I'm a creative consultant.
I'm Harriet, Verney and I'm a writer.
Hi, I'm Dominic and I'm a jewellery designer.
So, I guess it's quite exciting, right? So we don't have to intellectualise it. Sam, why are you, I will do in a second obviously, because that's what I do. But like, Sam, why are you excited about it?
I'm just excited to see what he does this season. If he takes it back, if he like actually references like the London Moschino, you know, garage culture, or if he doesn't.
Interesting. And what's this jacket you've got on?
This is Moschino, which I'm not sure if it's official or not, but I bought it off Ridley Market for £10, so I'm gonna say it's probably not. It's bootleg. But I prefer it to the real Moschino I have.
Sounds good. Frances, why are you excited or not?
Oh, no, I am excited actually. I mean, I've always been really interested in this fashion house in a way, and I like what's happened with women's wear. I like the references to pop culture. I like the sort of playfulness, and I'm intrigued as to why he's decided to show in London. So whether that's the sort of the popular culture, the street, so what he's going to come up with. And for me, it's a brand, or it potentially is one that you really want to watch because of the, you know, what he had. I mean, I know that the McDonald's thing was controversial, but I quite liked it. Although I would never, I'm not interested in that sort of those sorts of clothes myself. But I think there is something quite energetic and risk-taking about it, and that's what I'm interested in.
Cool. So Mimma.
There we go. You know.
Yeah. I know that you might not be so excited.
No, well, I'm excited to give him another chance because, contrary to you, Frances, I really disliked it. But it's too long story. We're not going back to that. But I'm quite interested about finding out why in London, and I think there might be something interesting here. I hope it's going to be more intellectual and less. I think it was a little bit of a joke.
Yeah,
we can discuss this for
hours.
hours.
Yeah, we can discuss it for
Daryoush
hours.
invited me tonight because of this. I thought it was a little bit of a joke. It didn't have anything serious for me. I was a little bit upset about that. So I'll give him a chance. He's very creative. He has great ideas. Hopefully the execution will be a little bit better.
Harriet, with you and your shoes look like you should like it.
Well, I don't know, I sort of agree with what you say, because I sort of think this resort collection for the women's took the piss out of every designer. Just there was like the trench coat and then, you know, sort of referencing Burberry, and they just completely took the piss out of it, and old Versace and stuff like that. But I'm kind of indifferent. Like, I want to see what he's got to do with the men's, and I don't particularly like what he wears personally, but see if he can do a good job.
Mr. Jones?
I have to say I'm kind of with these guys actually.
I'm so
I'm interested and I'm excited to see what he actually does for the men's, but I wasn't overly fulfilled or excited by what he did with the women's wear.
Is the problem that it's been Jeremy Scott's moment for so long that it, like, because I was mega excited when I heard it. I was like, oh my god, that's the best move. I really don't understand. I was like, when Kenzo happened, you know, Kenzo kind of revitalized fashion, connected with the whole thing that was happening on the internet, made a European house relevant. Italy is dying a death in some ways. You know, they had the whole thing with the Camera della Moda where they were talking about how can we appeal to young people, but they only had people 95 talking about it. And then,
so true.
You know, and then to have, you know, it's like Moschino, it's the most obvious thing to connect with the Instagram world. And so it was so beautiful when they got Jeremy Scott to do it. But it's
didn't
like
deliver really, I don't think.
I don't think you have to design fashion thinking about Instagram either. I think fashion is much more important than that, and that's exactly the problem here. And Moschino has been one of the greatest creative designer of all times, and I think it was almost insulting.
But I think it's so difficult when you come in. I mean, you just come in and you've got to hit the floor running, and you're supposed to, and there are so many pressures on you. I think one of the things that I get concerned about and get concerned for students is that, you're not allowed to take a chance, you're not allowed to push it out there. It may feel as though you're taking the piss or whatever out of it, but it doesn't necessarily mean to say that that's the motivation.
I wouldn't say
it
he
may
took
have been
many chances though.
No,
same
I
here.
think it was
really obvious.
it
It
was
was
an
easy.
incredibly safe.
It's
It
exactly
was
what
almost
it's-
as if you'd asked me 2 years ago, imagine what Jeremy Scott would do with Moschino.
And then you feel that's what
it was
he's
like
done.
paint by numbers, it's exactly how I would predict him to, and to be predictable is quite
Or Moschino had
unnerving.
said, make sure you make 20 million this year, and he'd gone, right, okay.
Well, this is,
That's
I do think this a bit, because I was thinking what Franco was doing was this political thing. I don't know what was going on with the Italians, but whatever it was, the post-modernity thing they really ran with. I don't know whether it was because they were all communists or what, but they really
It was
ran
just
with
after, can I tell you, because
the
I
year-
was alive
yeah,
and I'm
yeah,
from
yeah.
that culture. It was just after the Gli Anni di Piombo, which is where the
Years of
Red
Life.
Brigade were, kidnapping rich people to make money to kill people, and it was just after the storm. And he came up and he was at the, the post-Andy Warhol, Campbell Soup. It was genius. I mean, cheap and chic. It doesn't even need me to explain. So I don't think Jeremy Scott is political at all.
No.
I don't see what was political
I feel
about
like
that.
originally it was a big fuck you to the establishment, but his is completely catering to what people want this time.
I mean, I was looking at the resort collection on Star.com, and Maya Singer's opening line for it was, "Jeremy Scott is not a deep thinker when it comes to clothes." And I think unfortunately that hits the nail on the head. Moschino, it's fun, it's exciting, and it is the things that he should be. But unfortunately, he hasn't delivered anything other than kind of first base ideas. The thing that I relate to and why I enjoy wearing Moschino is because it stands up for things and it's politicized and it's exciting and it's subversive, and
You don't think he's taken
that's
that
not
on
been
enough?
shown at all with what he does. It's very, very much.
Maybe he was making fun of young people and only thing about Instagram.
Instagram, yeah.
But why not
I think
hire
so.
a
I mean,
young person?
Chanel, McDonald's, those colors.
It doesn't make for beautiful clothes,
Exactly. And I always want beautiful clothes.
I don't want
my
to wear a
definition.
McDonald's jumper that 20 other people are wearing down the street, so I'll go to Topshop.
But it's interesting because you think about Prada and some of the dresses that she's, with the painted faces, and it's the same thing. It's the same. I'm not saying it's the same,
And Fendi's
but it's
just
the
done it
idea.
for pretty.
It's just the idea. You wear it once, and everybody's seen it. So you may not want to wear the
That's more
McDonald's.
abstract, isn't it?
Well, not necessarily, because some of those, the faces are. It's so representational.
But he's
was
taking it.
beautiful.
He's taking it too far. I think, where I was in Paris, for sales shortly after the show, 7 days after the show, and you went into Colette and you saw those McDonald's jumpers and all of that McDonald's stuff 7 days after he'd shown it on sale in Colette, and it's that idea of fast fashion, and it unnerves me and it kind of offends me, because it's setting a precedent that I don't think that should be made, and it's kind of forcing people down this road where it's going to compromise design, it's going to compromise integrity, and there should be a big difference between fashion and clothes. You don't come.
Totally
You don't come to see a design because it should have integrity. It should have design. It should have a quality and inspired nature to it. It shouldn't just be this fast fashion commodity, instantly recognised, instantly bought, instantly bored of, which is what he's doing.
But that's the sort of tension that we've got now, because you've got on the one hand all the pressure to make money, so you've got all of the expansion that's going on, all the opening of new stores. So you think about, the Lagerfeld
It could be done. It could be done
No,
in a way
I
that
agree
that
with
is
you.
successful.
I agree with you.
I
I
don't
think
think
it's
that's
I don't think that will make money.
That's the way
I
it should
don't
be.
think that.
But it could be both. There's no reason why he couldn't have done it in a way that is both.
But in his
I don't think he did.
In his defence,
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, let's check it out. There's somebody on the catwalk.
It's not, man.
She's definitely not a man.
She's definitely a woman, yeah.
Well, we don't know.
We
though.
don't know.
Well, the legs are.
She could be
Those-
somebody that
yeah.
I hang out with. She could be a man.
At least we can have a good look at it.
Yes, we can.
I mean,
I like a pyjama.
Yeah, it doesn't upset me so far.
What's that in the centre? Can anyone
That's
tell?
not what?
Doesn't upset me so far.
No.
that's nice.
It looks quite old school, actually.
Well, also I get kind of mixed up though with a lot of because it's tough because Jeremy Scott. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this, but he just naturally channels a lot of J.C. Castleback and
Even
Castle
Dolce
Back.
to an extension as well.
and Frank, obviously,
Well, I think when you design for Moschino, you can't be Moschino. So you either go a different direction, but with some, clever whatever reference to Italy to that time, or if you want to be Moschino, you have to be respectful of what Moschino was. And this is not. I mean, this I don't know yet, but the fashion show that we've
Well, it
seen
was interesting.
at Women's wasn't.
It was interesting because I didn't expect you guys to have such a powerful reaction, but it was cool because I think that people get this wrong, like the whole thing, like, with Oliviero Toscani, it's very much the same culture, and if you don't have the proper provocation, you're not going to get the religious attachment, and it is just a flash,
So was that negative or positive? Sorry, I didn't understand exactly.
Well, just I think that it seemed like you were all chiming in on that kind of same idea that unless you actually make a provocative statement, there is nothing.
A relevant one to the times.
I don't believe that because I think stars shouldn't go out of fashion, and he's making things go out of fashion in 7 days. I think he's ruining it.
Yeah, I mean, every
I think
single
that's kind of
person
the
was given
culture.
that McDonald's stuff. It was
Yeah.
flooded
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
I literally
vulgar.
counted
but I
within those
think that
first
was
few
part
weeks
of
about
what
18
it was
people
all
were
Yeah,
wearing
I know
those
who's doing
McDonald's
it as
things.
I'm Jeremy Scott, I'm here, but
Because he
I
brought
just
out
sort of-
Real Aura, Katy Perry, like just all like, they're all pop stars that have no statement.
I know, but my old Moschino that I own, I've worn it and I've had it for 15 years. And
You probably
every
didn't
time-
buy it because you were
No,
too young.
I got given it by my mum, but
Yeah.
the point is she wore it, I wear it, and it's still pretty relevant. It's a gold suit. But I don't think that, McDonald's thing is that.
But I think this is the big tension, that what we're talking about is the fact that you get the originators of the brand or the company, and then they move on for whatever reason, and somebody comes in and it's like, what do you do? Whether you're talking about, whether it's Dior or whether it's McQueen or whether it's Moschino or whether it's Versace. I mean, it's a bit like, that's the tension, and you've built up this infrastructure where you're meant to make money and you're meant to sell clothes, so you're getting this pressure.
But
to
there's
both
been,
conform and not conform.
20 years between Franco and Moschino without Franco?
No, but
so
in the end,
it's
we're all
easier than taking over
well, yes, it is. But then on the other hand,
there's a
everybody
lot
knows.
of women in this
there are a lot of
show.
people
But on
who
the other hand,
care.
you have to revise
Otherwise
it.
you wouldn't.
No,
you
I
wouldn't
know,
be saying
but
what you're
I'm
saying.
old. But I mean, I think young
but you're
people
not
today, Jeremy Scott clients, probably barely know who Franco Moschino was and what was
No, I think
relevant
they
at the
do.
time.
I think they do because of the.
Because I'm that generation.
People
But
still
yeah, but
wear a
guys,
lot
you're
of
a
vintage
student in
Moschino.
fashion, you're creative in.
Yeah,
I mean, think about the world
many
out
girls.
there. I mean, you're
Yeah, but I
obviously
think those
interested
people
in
wouldn't know Jeremy, like my friends who aren't into fashion wouldn't know Jeremy Scott either.
Okay.
But then in London,
So what would they think about that show, or the fact that there is again
they'd
there
be
is Chanel
like-
here?
but I think
think
in,
like
in
what
London,
fuck,
I think one of the reasons for it to be in London
Like everyone else.
is
Is the reason that people
grab
do still
those
wear
people.
it.
People
People do
do
still wear
on
vintage
the
Moschino.
street.
I wear my,
My
jeans
friends-
like every other day. I
Yeah.
have like 3 pairs. And
And
I
we have a
rotate
better
them.
sense of humour.
I mean, the kids wearing Moschino around the turn of the millennium pretty much set the template for that kind of colourful cartoon fashion that carried
I mean,
on.
I'm sorry, but this is just his pre-collection in different fabrics.
Yeah, different shape.
Are they dreadlocks?
This is his women's wear pre-collection in different shapes with a couple of menswear pieces put in so far.
I want to hear the music.
Who did the music? Does anyone know?
I like the boots.
Is that meant to be like Louis
Louis Vuitton print, yeah.
monograph? That's the thing.
So
I
he
just
just
don't like
takes
it that
piss.
he's so referential. Like I know that's his thing, but sometimes it's just too literal.
But it's not old Jeremy Scott wouldn't be like that. He was all about silhouettes and shapes and stuff like that
But I think
10 years
old-
ago, and he's just...
Old old
He
Jeremy's
cares
like
about
dead. He hasn't been like that for a long time.
I know, but it's a shame.
I mean, the thing is that his collaboration with Adidas was really successful because that's at a different point in the market, and it is streetwear, and it is fun, and it's okay, and it's okay for it to be like that.
What does it
But
say?
the thing that is that I
I predicted it.
Yeah, you did.
Sorry, I'm listening.
The thing is that I would want more from it being Moschino. There's a difference. Like I thought that his collaboration with Adidas was really successful and it was really good. I didn't per se like most of it, but I thought it was really successfully done, and I thought it was a good pairing. And he good for him too. It probably made him a fortune, but and it opened up a different market for him, and it opened up a different area for him. But the thing with this is it's just diluting. It's not adding. It's not elevating. It's not creating. It's not as interesting as his own clothes, and it's not as interesting as Moschino's clothes.
No. Who do you think he's aiming this at?
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I feel like it's meant to be for my people, like young people. And
Maybe.
I mean, that's
I'm sure this will get wood. I'm sure Katy Perry, I'm
price
sure
tag's completely out.
Yeah.
Except for the
All of them would
iPhone
wear it.
case, like I can't afford
You
nothing
won't
from
hear
that.
a word. We speak all together, it's going to be chaos.
Yeah.
Don't you guys think that it's too big for him? It's too big a challenge for him, and that's what's happening?
No, I think you could have done it.
But won't it still be hugely successful?
Probably.
But I don't know whether it'll have longevity.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fun pop culture thing right now because it's new, and and people are getting given it to wear left, right, and centre. So there's going to be all of the celebrities wearing it because they're putting advertising, they're pushing it out there, and it will be in people's faces. So people will buy into it, and it's still got those Moschino belts. It's still got the monogram that people still love about old Moschino, but it's not going to have the sensibility and the interest and the creativity to keep it going.
You don't think he
past
can
a few
evolve
seasons.
into it? You don't.
Maybe,
think,
but I don't from this starting
Maybe
point.
he'll calm
I'm just
down.
interested because it's so difficult. I mean, the pressure is like you're saying, is it too big? And it's whether sometimes it's a bit like you've got so many toys to play with, you don't quite know
Maybe
what to
he's
do.
like a late comer.
Yeah.
But even commercially, people sometimes think when you read a lot about someone or someone is controversial, and I know for experience that it's not always the same thing commercially. So I don't see how the women's collection can bring a lot of money in.
No, for the women that can actually afford
No,
that price
they're
point,
not going to buy it.
they're not going to buy it. They're not going to buy
Italians
fucking
would wanna buy it.
McDonald's.
Also because it's expensive, so
But that's why
it's
they've
so
done the.
easy to copy. For Moschino, he's saying it himself. So I'm not sure he's going to make money. He's going to give a lot of publicity. The brand is back, he's back, whatever.
But maybe they know
But now he
that.
needs
Maybe
to
that's
do
what
fashion.
they want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they haven't had any press in so long, so maybe even good, I mean bad press, sorry, is a good
What they
thing
did with
for
that
them.
Tartan collection
It's
just before
publicity.
he came in, that got a lot of press. I
Like
thought
their
it was quite
name,
good.
was
the
quite
name
good,
wasn't
yeah.
really like on anyone's lips until like last season when he did women's, really.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I don't
it's
know,
better.
I
better
always
or for
relied on
worse.
Moschino for good clothes.
There's a
When they
hell
were
of
out
a
of
lot of
fashion.
women's wear
Yeah,
now
but
that
it was
they're all-
old Moschino.
Yeah,
It
men's
wasn't new
wear.
Moschino.
I mean, it wasn't-
wouldn't.
No,
you
even for a good black dress with safety pins on it, yeah.
Sorry, guys. Sorry to be
Well, we
this
haven't seen the
obvious, but
collection.
we've got to speak one at a time.
Do we need like a stick, like therapy?
Yeah.
It's because there's so many of us. Sorry, guys at home.
Sorry, guys.
Looking past the champagne cup and you speak only when you hold it.
When you do shot.
So I don't know, Francis. What's your overall opinion on this so far?
Well, because of the way it was coming through, it was hard to get a sense of what the overall feel for the collection was like. That's my feel. So I'll be quite interested to see if we can get some more images, so you get a sense.
Will we?
Yeah,
Okay,
that
good.
would be quite good.
Yeah.
And I thought it was interesting that there were a lot of. I wasn't expecting to have so much women's wear.
It looked like a women's
show.
collection.
Yeah,
It was a reworking of the pre-collection.
yeah.
Yeah, you weren't a fan, were you, Dom?
No, to be honest, not really.
Did we
I mean,
see
it was
that?
very.
No, we didn't see
It
any
was,
of it.
as he said at the beginning, the
We saw that
first bit's very
the- yeah.
Pastor Jack, his week, and then it just went into his pre-collection in different colours and different fabrics, and then
We saw from that.
Yeah, we saw from. Yeah.
I thought it was very Dalston. I mean, I feel like I've seen every one of those people walking down the Kingston Road.
fuck you.
Hey, you're Stoke Newington, it's fine, but...
Just.
How are you?
The stream's pretty bad everywhere, so sorry about the delay. We've got quite a few images coming through on Out Fashion, so you'll see them. And if we can get the stream back up, we'll play it for you again.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you.
Just bear with me 5 minutes, I'll get these images ready for you.
Can I have that pink chocolate, please?
Go for it.
Yeah, thanks.
So we didn't see these images. Do they make it look a bit more interesting? Are we a bit more
See it now.
interested?
It's really good.
I mean, you know, does it matter, Mimma, if he's not selling, you know, suits? Does it matter if he's selling, like, you know, maybe the point is to sell product, maybe it's to sell a swim short.
Oh, absolutely.
Facebook.
No,
Yes, I think
it's
it's
not.
about
It's
products.
not. It's not about suits. I mean,
No,
there are
it's about
enough
products.
brands that do suits and they do them very well. No. That's not a problem for me, because the problem is exactly if I want the alternative to, you know, the suit maker of the world, I want something which makes sense. But I honestly haven't seen this collection, so I can't criticize it yet, or, you know, applaud it. I'm starting to see it now. I love the idea of sportswear, creative sportswear, young people wear. Yeah, no. Suits we don't need from him.
The bomber on the right looks good.
Yeah.
I don't like that he's used slides because I feel like that's been so done to death in the third look. Like Sean Sampson 4 seasons ago.
Why do we think he, Dom, Sam, I think you guys had some quite interesting points to make about why he possibly chose London? Or anybody that wants to chime in, but I just thought it was...
Well, it makes sense. I mean, London is leading the way in terms of like exciting, youthful menswear. And if you're going to relaunch a brand and you're going to start doing fun, exciting menswear, then this is the place to do it. But also in the same respect, it's going up against people that are actually quite innovative and actually quite forward-thinking. And I wouldn't say that this collection is. If you took away Moschino, if you took away Jeremy Scott and put this down a catwalk at a graduate show, you'd be like,
Slated.
Wow,
There was a quote.
That was a hard one.
There was a quote
Do you
from
not
one of
think?
his people saying that
Sort
it was
of,
about
yeah.
sense of humour in London, and the London people would get it, and that's where he wanted to show it first.
But
So I think it's quite interesting.
I mean, it's also because, I mean, Dom, you were saying this as well, and Sam, you were saying this when we were having a smoke outside. You were saying, you know, it's because this is the city where it was still being worn
we
on
made
the street.
Moschino, I feel like. Well, we
I mean,
took it out of the context, the Italian context, and it was like Asian rude boys and like garage girls wearing it out. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, Moschino is one of the brands that I really affiliate with and I look for and I enjoy wearing. It's something that I get excited by when I find good pieces, and it's something that I get the most like comments and feedback from when I do wear it. I enjoy it. I love it as a brand, and it stands up for things. It like represents like. It fights for racism, it fights for free love, it fights for anti-violence. It's like everything, it's got really good agendas and it's got really exciting like ideas behind its pieces. This has fast food and...
The thing is, I can find better vintage Moschino on eBay, like literally for £10 than spending like whatever this costs, do you know what I mean? It just doesn't make financial sense for me either to buy this stuff.
So what do you think would make the difference then? What do you think he would have to do to make the difference?
Well, I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure this will do really well. I'm sure it will sell.
No, I mean, just in your
but
time,
in
'cause I think
my
it's just
mind.
interested,
But this is the thing. I don't know whether he could do, because I don't think that he's the things that I love about the brand is not what he's about as a designer. Like he's not an intellect in design. He's a fun, fast fashion pop. Culture,
Provocateur.
So they've made it very difficult.
And I'm sure it will get one, and I'm sure he will make sales off it. But it's not the things that I love about the old brand.
Yeah.
But you know, in a sense, I think that's what the bosses thought about, because today, if you think about where the world is going, it's either ethical, and so there's all the things that in a way at the time of Franco they were revolutionary, or provocation in this kind of way, and so maybe that's what they wanted.
Particularly provocative.
I'm not
It's
saying I
loud.
agree, but
It's
that's
loud and it's in your face. But is it provocative? I don't see anything that's provoking anything.
No,
For me personally,
It's loud,
like,
yeah.
it's loud and it's in your face. And
yeah.
it's very much there, and it will look good on Rita Ora and it will look good on Katy Perry, but I don't think it's being provocative.
But as a consumer, I don't want to know that 20 other people have this thing. I don't want to know that it's doing really well sales-wise.
But some people do. But some people do. But some people do.
I know, but I thought it was meant to be the age of the individuality, you know, and if it's going
what do the Karl Lagerfeld and the Vuitton of the world think about the way he referenced them quite literally?
I wouldn't.
Do they like it? Do they?
Carl
what did
originally
Karl
christened
say
him
of the show?
He said he was the guy that should replace him, didn't he?
Really? When was that?
And then he saw the show.
Like 15 years ago, you know, like he was like Jeremy Scott is the guy that should replace him.
He was
15
great
years ago.
15 years ago.
Yeah.
Carl chats a lot of shit though, let's be real.
Well, he was pretty cool back then though. He was hanging out with Kimora Lee Simmons.
Oh, I like her. Life in the Fab Lane.
And then
I care more about her opinion, to be
Then he
honest.
got skinny and hung out with chicks on speed.
I think Carl's pretty good at being cool, actually. Like, I think he is surprisingly always on the money.
I don't think this is the worst collection. I think it's quite,
I don't think it's the worst collection.
I wouldn't mind going down the street with someone wearing that.
Yeah, but you hang out with some right weirdos, Harriet.
Yeah.
But there's nothing that matches the impact of even the McDonald's pieces. So it's like, what are people gonna fuss over? It doesn't actually work that really well on a.
They're backstage.
I mean, I like the flag print. That was great.
See, there is some Andy
I like that
Warhol. I was
Budweiser
right.
fake print. That's quite funny.
Yeah, but that was Supreme did a Budweiser shirt, didn't they?
But like, look at that hoodie and shorts and them shoes. I just feel like I've seen that so many seasons now in London. It looks kind of dated to me. This whole like colourful toy like brash thing. It just feels really done to death, and I think it's been done better as well.
But I mean, but that is what the brand is, no?
Well, it didn't
I still
have
think
to
it'd be very popular.
I don't know. I just feel like I could think of a lot of better people that could have been in that position that he's in at Moschino.
I mean, genuinely, like if you did actually take away all of the Moschino branding, and if you did take away the fact that it's Jeremy Scott, and you were looking at this collection on its own merits, I would be surprised if many people thought that much of it.
No, I could see like Nazir there. I could really see that, and he's someone who's grown up with it and genuinely wears
He's a different take on the culture that took on Moschino.
I think Jeremy Scott has proved himself, though, just to defend him, I think he has proved himself in terms of, you know, like he's been doing it for 10, 15 years, and I absolutely love Nazir, but he hasn't been doing it for 10, 15
Yeah, but
years.
that's just who I think, like I can see them in that position.
No, I think you're right, Jeremy makes a hype, and that's quite a hard thing to do.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I think he's been successful in a lot of different areas, but for me, this is its own. This isn't Jeremy. This is Moschino.
And also, we live in the thing that is London, where we live and breathe this shit. Whereas Jeremy Scott's been doing it in New York, where nobody does that. Nobody has, you know, nobody does this kind of iconography. Nobody was hanging out with all the rappers like he was in New York. You know, nobody was doing the pop art thing, and also in Italy nobody's doing that, and so it makes sense, you know, because we do live in a place where this is just second, third nature, you know. This
that's what I'm kind of saying. I think there's better people that have grown up around it that could have done it.
Yeah, New York
that would have brought a new angle to it. Like this doesn't feel new. This just feels like
New York 20 years ago had Marc Jacobs, who was doing something close to this, you know, at the time, but then he became Marc Jacobs, and it did clothes that, like it or not, were clothes, and they can, you know, they can remain in history. I'm not sure what Jeremy Scott means to Moschino yet. I know what Jeremy Scott means, but
won't this bikini be like, you know, I don't know, I imagine like something like that bikini. I imagine this show is really about that bikini or that Speedo. Like, it's just about product for the airport, no? Or like, you know,
duty free.
But that's
which is so depressing.
But that's how Missoni. I mean, Missoni is product for an airport, isn't it?
It's quite nice.
Yeah, but
they make a fortune.
In Jeremy's defense, I feel like, how much can he really do? Like, at this point in fashion, it's just all giving way to capitalism. Like, for me anyway, as a photographer, like when I'm on a main fashion shoot, it's all about like advertisement designers. Like, you have to get these people in. You don't have as much freedom as people perceive. you're actually kind of forced to do a lot of stuff you
Well,
don't
that's what
want
I'm
to
saying
do.
about the bottom line. I mean, they bring him in because he's going to sell.
Products
and
for an
move lots of
airport wasn't a
product.
diss. Like, I think that's a great thing. That was me defending
But
him.
also, like, the one good thing the thing I really like about Jeremy, he doesn't seem like an elitist, and I think that's important, especially now in fashion. But the problem is the price point, like, the people this is aimed at is not where it's going to end up.
Yeah, but then did you see his campaign for the women's collection?
I love
Maisel, the top
amazing.
model, yeah, but I mean, that's as elitist as everybody else.
True.
It's, I mean, I'm not here to contradict, I'm here to try and understand, but what you said is very nice, but I think
I was
it's
thinking about
idealistic
him
because
generally, not
he got
specifically
to-
for
he could've-
Moschino, just his whole career, like, doing the Adidas shit, like,
But
I could always afford it.
Isn't the point of this that you know, the cycle shorts and the white sweat that we just saw, you know, where Sean Sampson doesn't, you know, in China, where's Sean Sampson sold? Probably in one shop in Beijing and one shop in Hong Kong. And this will be sold in that city, Hong Kong, that everybody always talks about.
But that's because China isn't quite ready to buy into young designers. They're not that.
Yeah, but they buy like 40% of the designer fashion in the world.
Yeah. But
But
they're
there's a
only
culture like-
just
yeah, but they don't
embracing
buy
the older
JW
brands.
Anderson.
No, but that's
They
what,
buy
exactly what I'm
Gucci.
saying. So this is a repackage. This is a repackage for all the second-tier cities in the world. You know, this is a repackage of everything that's gone on in London. Everything.
Yeah, no,
you
and
know.
that's fair. That's fine. Like I'm no one is not saying that, and I'm sure it will do well. It's just you can have hopes that there's more.
Yes.
You
I
can
mean, I'm just
There is
just
hope.
playing devil's advocate.
Yeah.
No, you're right to have hopes that there's more.
No, I mean, for me personally, the reason that I'm speaking out so much is because I do genuinely identify with Moschino, and it's a brand that I look for and I enjoy wearing, and it's one of the few staples that I actually find fun and I like it. It makes me feel like summer. It makes me feel it's like it's something that I genuinely really enjoy wearing, and none of this is something that I would wear.
It's always a conversation starter. Like whenever I wear old Moschino, like people will come up to me and like say something about it. Like people identify with past Moschino, definitely.
Well, he could have even done it more interestingly if he'd have just referenced that London 98
Yeah,
to
that's what I was going to say.
2002.
I'm really surprised they're not bringing out, you know, jeans and these kind of jackets. Like when I think of Moschino, that's what I think of.
Could
Jeans
have done
and jackets.
London Underground jeans.
That's why I was saying, I was just wondering who will buy it. I mean, you're saying yes, we'll sell a lot, and it maybe at, duty free or whatever. But it's who do you think will?
Out of all of my friends, I
aimed
only
at-
know 2 people that bought anything from that first collection, and they got discounts, and they also have a lot of money to spend. So,
Of course.
like, I don't know anyone that would save up and spend their actual earnings on it.
No, because you can find.
But which I have friends that do. They would put themselves in debt to buy something that they really care about and something that they really love.
But this doesn't.
But that's what I
press
was-
that button, does it?
That's what I was-
Not in the people that I know. Anyway.
But then this is not for that. This is for some princess somewhere who wants to get funky for the night.
Okay, cool.
Do you know what I mean?
But anyone that's like a bit clever,
They
like
buy
I was saying,
Balmain.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
would.
they do.
Yeah, they do.
They
Yeah,
buy
yeah.
Balmain.
That's what
They
I'm
buy.
asking. I'm wondering
I
who
don't
it's-
know. I really don't know who
will buy
is
it.
interested in this.
Yeah, that's
I
what
don't
I
know.
got-
And
that's what
I'm
I'm
thinking
searching
the
for.
Moschino customer, probably not even. You know,
Does it have
as
a
you were
customer at
saying.
the moment? Does it have a definite
I don't
customer?
know. I don't know. In the past 10 years, I don't know.
Because every time I walk past the store in the last few years on Bond Street, it's depressing. You know when you have a memory of what something was and
In
then where it's at
Cambridge.
now, and you're just like, oh.
But you're too young to know what it was.
Well, no, I grew up in West London. Like my parents worked on the market. We used to go Southall every week. Like I've been exposed to it. Obviously, I didn't understand the context. That's why I've always seen it from like a garage perspective. I didn't even know it was a luxury brand until I got a bit older and looked into it.
Well, I remember living on an estate in Whitechapel, very super Asian estate, and this little 7-year-old boy running up to my T-shirt, and it was covered in peace signs, and actually it was a Japanese T-shirt, but it had all the peace signs on. And he just ran up and went, "Oh, Moschino, innit?"
I can't believe it.
He didn't, he had no idea what CND was, but he knew what, Moschino was, yeah.
That's what I mean. There's so many other like things Jeremy could have drawn inspiration from, different eras in the history of Moschino, and I feel like he's just gone for the most obvious.
But we're probably the minority.
Yeah, I'm
I
sure.
think definitely
I'm
we're
sure
the
there's. I'm
minority
sure there's.
in terms of taste.
He has a lot of fans, and I'm sure.
I don't think it's that bad.
But we've
I think I
seen.
like it.
But I mean,
No,
also
bits
we've
and
seen
pieces
much more inspiring because I like Jeremy Scott's collections generally. When they
there's
get
been some really
a few
good
years
ones.
ago, I
He
did.
had, as we've all been saying, like when he first started out, there's some really exciting and really interesting things. And as I said before, I genuinely thought that his collaboration with Adidas was really successful. And if you were showing me Jeremy Scott for Adidas, I'd probably be saying something completely different.
Yeah, I really liked that stuff, and I remember when I was like 17, like I saved a bit of money and I went to Selfridges and bought it. And that's what I mean about he kind of appeals to everyone. And when he did the Adidas thing, he really was. Like obviously it was money motivated for him because he must have got a fuckload for it. But like people like me and just normal people could go and buy a part like into his world, and I think that's important.
But are we, maybe we're wanting some great postmodern statement.
Most people don't.
Are we making the same mistake as everybody made about Yves Saint Laurent? Sorry, the massive. I mean, I don't know. Like Hedy just obviously thought, well, yeah, let's just rake it in. I mean, are we making the same
I think
mistake?
it's a different level. We can't compare
I don't think it's
the
comparable.
talent. I think
No, Hedy's obviously mega talented, but are we making the same mistake
Well,
that all the press made, where they
At
would
the
like,
beginning,
to
where
be fair, I'm still with the press on that.
Yeah, I'm totally.
100% still with
but
the
it
press.
sells.
Yeah, so
But does that mean shit?
So does lots of things in this world.
Toilet paper sells, it's not interesting.
yeah,
do you know what I mean?
that's quite true. I mean, a lot of things sells, but I
He'll be
think
banned from his shows.
It's not fashion.
I actually think Hedy at Saint Laurent and this is very comparable. Like
do you?
comparable.
No,
Yeah.
I disagree.
I do. For me, it's one and the same actually.
How so?
But what's the point of creating fashion?
They're both really uninspiring collections that are doing something with houses that actually have a lot of interest and a lot of history to them.
Oh yeah, I agree in that.
And yeah,
respect,
they're
actually.
probably both going to sell loads, but it doesn't mean that I actually have anything that I positive to say about either of them.
But what's the point of creating fashion that's not fashionable?
In what sense? What do you
Well-
mean in not fashionable?
Well, I mean,
As in
if it
people
doesn't
aren't wearing
sell,
it.
it's not
You can
fashionable.
have commodity and you can have taste.
No, but fashion that's not fashionable is illogical, no?
Yeah, it's not.
But I
art,
wouldn't say
it's
that this is
fashion. It has to
fashionable.
sell.
But I think it's
Just because you have enough money to put it in all of the magazines and you have enough to give away to every single pop star so that it's in everyone's mind.
Yeah.
Pop stars aren't going to be buying this. I'm pretty sure they're not actually going to be spending their own money on it. Katy Perry is going to be given every single piece in the collection, and she will wear it because she's friends with them, and they go out and get wasted or whatever. But that doesn't mean that it's actually drawing someone to it.
Well, I think
It's not something like it's not the
Someone's
same
kind of
as something
Primark
that's
is copying
fashionable.
loads of collections, and it's fashionable because it's gone through all the different sort of hierarchies. But something like that, Primark can't copy. They can't write Moschino, whatever, all over their clothes. You know what I mean?
That's a good
Like,
idea. But
You can buy
price,
Moschino if you want. But I'm sure this was made like 20 years ago.
I would like to go back to the Saint Laurent comparison. I think that what Hedy does, like it or not, it's more, first of all, relevant to today and to the type of client that can buy and afford that. But also, he has given us sort of a fresh air to the real DNA of the brand. And I think genuinely there is some fashion thinking behind that.
I don't think so.
I don't think there
so.
is. I don't think there is here, because here is just referencing and putting logos on stuff that it's not even
But
designed.
this, I think, is more. You were saying this is less relevant than Yves Saint Laurent, but I think this is more relevant to what people actually wear. Like people you see on the street, like you were saying, Dalston or outside Topshop.
Yeah, but
they're
the
going to
work
be wearing
is not
clothes to
Dalston,
them.
guys. The work, these people buy in Park Avenue.
It is now.
Millionaires. I mean, that's what I think.
completely.
I come from this industry. I worked for 20 years in big brands. I can tell you, you don't go anywhere if you sell only in Dalston. No. So with all due
one's-
No,
respect,
this isn't sold in Dalston. I'm saying that everyone's
This
trying
is
to
an
get that
aesthetic that
look.
would look
I
like
know,
that.
but that's not every brand
The
has to
internet
try to
looks
get
like
that
Dalston, though.
look. Saint Laurent
That's
look
what I'm
is not-
saying. I think.
No, but hold on. One thing is talking about Saint Laurent, one thing is talking about McQueen, one thing is talking about Moschino. I mean, you cater to 3 different kinds of people.
Yeah.
So you can't compare.
No, but the general,
sense.
what I mean by saying Dalston, that's just like I don't mean literally people that live in like N16 or whatever it is. Like I mean, that's the look Topshop all the internet people, that's the look of the moment, and it just is for like, from like 13 to 20-year-olds, that's the look that most people are going for.
But why would you spend 500 quid on a
No, that's what I'm saying, you don't need to. You could actually go Dalston and buy
20
this for £10 and you'd be sorted. Or go on eBay.
Well,
so I've got a question.
Saint Laurent doesn't cater to those people, absolutely.
Everybody will be pleased to know.
They did cater to a different market, but what I'm saying is it's the same. For me, I find it just as uninspiring as this.
Yeah, I
But
disagree,
I can only speak for my own taste.
I respect, but I think I would compare.
I'm not comparing the same
Nicolas
quality and
Gisquet
the
has
same.
done with Louis Vuitton and Hedi with Saint Laurent. I think they both, without really transgressing the DNA of the brand, they refreshed it. They put some fresh air on it, and I personally, I'm not going to say what I prefer now, but I personally like it. It's not about me wanting to wear this or not. I think he hasn't done that. I think this is too easy.
And I think at least
that's
with Hedi,
that's the difference.
at least with Hedi, what he's doing, I don't personally like it, but I know that my friends wear it, and I know that people do buy it, and I know that it's a legitimate thing. This, I don't know any of my friends that would wear.
So, I have a question. So you'll all be amazingly pleased to know that Jeremy's publicist is watching this.
Cool.
And
I'm not going to the party afterwards.
So, Kelly Cutrone, American fashion publicist
Kelly.
and TV personality.
Yeah.
She has a very interesting question. If you were psychic, how would you predict how Jeremy Scott will revolutionize the house of Moschino? Is there such a... so that's the first question. So let's
Hi,
go.
Kelly.
Hey, Kelly.
Hey, Kelly.
Hey.
So why, if you're I don't understand the question.
So what if we are psychic? How do we see the future of Moschino with Jeremy Scott at the helm?
I think it depends on sales. He might revolutionise the sales, but the brand's image, I don't think he will revolutionise. This doesn't feel too permanent to me.
He might break into other countries, if he gets the Asian market, and that's great.
But that's why I feel like all the designers are aiming for this day, and it's so boring. Like, get that Asian money. Like, that's all they're trying to do, and they know exactly what they like. Asian people don't want to see Asian prints. They want to see Americana or European. So they'll just do that again and again and just sell it and sell it. It's just boring.
I think it'd be interesting if he was to really sort of push the ideas a bit more, because I think the big tension at the moment is what is fashion. Everybody's chasing all of the markets. The business is so involved with fashion, you don't have the sort of freedom as a designer that you might have had when a lot of these companies were at their pinnacle. So they're under huge pressure to make it work, and I think we're demanding a lot. I'm not saying he can't deliver and that we shouldn't be. We should be demanding, because actually that's our responsibility to keep pushing it and helping. And I would hope that he would take the chances and really push some of the game playing that he's got. I just feel a little bit that it could be, as we say, it could be so much more if he really took the idea of playing with the thing about fast fashion. When fashion is so ubiquitous, when everybody's chasing the luxury, then what is a luxury brand? And I think it would be about him being braver than perhaps, the indications are at the moment.
I totally agree, Francis. And I think that's exactly the answer. I think that it's either way. If it works, what he does, and it's not, it doesn't have to be what he did in the last show, what he is. And if it works, what he does, and the idea he has in mind, then it can propel Moschino to very high places. But it's so dangerous because it can also, which today I think, but I might be wrong, not work at all, not sell in Asia, not sell anywhere. Companies today, they don't keep expensive designers because he's an expensive designer, not only in probably what he makes, but also the samples, the campaign. Company cannot afford to keep.
That's what I was saying.
It's like being a football manager. If you don't get it, you're out. You're out.
Exactly.
You're out.
So he might.
That's hard.
I think it's 50-50.
There's a question mark, definitely. But I feel like I'm being really negative, but I'm actually excited to see what he does, because I feel like he could definitely do more.
He could.
I feel like he hasn't been given the reins completely these last
You think so?
3 collections.
I think when I saw the collection last season, he was given white canvas freedom. Come on.
I would just hope that he could do more.
Sure. But I'm agreeing with this general emerging consensus. That's exactly what I was going to say. I was excited to see Jeremy Scott and for all the things that go around about him, you know, for me, it's like, okay, he's maybe not going to be this great postmodern conceptualist I'd like him to be. I was hoping we could have a conversation about the meaning of it. But, you know, like
Sorry.
he should be Jeremy Scott. That's what I want him to do. I want him to be Jeremy Scott and really run with it and really take it to that nth
You
degree.
can't completely be Jeremy Scott when you design for such a brand. You know, you can't completely be yourself when you design for someone who's been around before.
But there's
Carl
such a
did.
big arc.
Yeah, I was just going to say Carl.
No,
But then
I
you
know.
get time.
But
You
that's
get
what I'm
to
trying
have
to
time.
say. You can be you, put your own take to something that.
But I think that, I mean, I think, because I was going to say Carl, you know, Carl at Chanel, but then it's a bit like, you know, being Alex Ferguson at, you know, at Manchester United, the idea that you were there, you made the mistakes, and that it was at a time when it was tolerated. Now there is no tolerance. If you don't hit the bottom line, you don't get it right immediately. And that's the big tension, for especially for creatives, because you need that time to, and I'm not necessarily talking about this.
Surely, I mean, look, the first thing, I mean, one thing that we've got to say that he's done is, you know, I mean, this label was completely and utterly irrelevant.
they wouldn't be, this would not be happening if he wasn't here. That's what I was trying to say earlier.
I bet he's laughing because, you know, we're all sitting here discussing it non-stop. Everyone's discussing it.
Yeah.
He asked for a reaction. We're giving him a reaction.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's for
I'm
sure.
just saying he's got a reaction, and you know.
Yeah,
I think
completely.
That's great.
And
I think it's quite funny actually.
And he's definitely putting the
It
brand
is.
back on the map, and he's definitely getting it out there, and it's definitely in everyone's faces, and it's definitely being seen and spoken about.
But it's what you
It's
do.
a good relaunch for the brand, but I don't know whether it's a successful design.
Yes.
To add on to your point, like about the humour thing, but don't you feel sometimes he kind of relies on humour as a backup, so he doesn't have to be taken as, he's like,
We
you
don't
can't
know that.
consider me
He could be
as
sitting at home
a
laughing his
serious
head off at what we're all
designer
saying, like,
because I'm
he'd be really clever
humorous.
at that. You don't know
Like
that.
humour's like a fallback, so he's like,
I think
doesn't
my
have to be
singer
like,
said
right.
it.
Huh?
No, I mean, that Style.com review where Maya Singer said Jeremy Scott is not a deep thinker when it comes to fashion. As he said so himself, he said so that in a Style.com interview. She was referencing an interview that he'd done for Style.com, and he'd said that about himself. And that was her opening line with the Resort collection. And I think that is kind of evidently the point when it comes to this relaunch.
But how many,
How many designers are deep thinkers?
Well, I would hope a lot.
I
would hope a lot.
I think.
I'm sorry, but
Yeah,
like,
but you're the biggest thinker ever, which is
But is
amazing.
that the
So
only
Jory
valid
reflects that.
thing?
But
You don't need to say sorry.
I would want a luxury brand that has a lot of power and a lot of influence to do something intelligent, to do something exciting, to do something inspiring, which
Like I used to
don't
like
think this
Moschino
is.
and Benetton, like their campaign strategy, I used to think of it in the same way. And now I don't think of it the same at all. There's no political subtext to Moschino now, which is a sad thing, I agree with you totally.
But sometimes you do just want, like, you know, like Bipling, for instance. Like, she must be like the Miss Moschino girl. And I, you know, she got so much shit, but her website's great. There's just bags throbbing at you. And like sometimes, I over-intellectualize everything, right? Like, I absolutely everything. But sometimes you just look at something and your tongue sticks out and you just
Yeah, I
want
don't
it.
think being an intellect's the only valued like person on this planet either.
no, not at all. And Moschino used to be fun and exciting, but also intellectual.
Yes.
You can be fun. You can be.
Yes.
You can see it. Like I've got.
You can be cheap and chic, but it just feels cheap here.
Woo! That was
Like,
good.
I want to get a read in.
We have the other question.
So the second question.
Oh, that was just the first.
Oh. So the second question is a bit from the left field.
From who?
Are we? It's again from Kelly.
Kelly.
Hopefully you're gonna sort of do as another like weird meta rap. Is there such a thing as unisex?
Yes,
Completely.
Yeah.
for sure. But this isn't. This is a menswear and a women's wear collection put on the same catwalk.
Exactly, but there is unisex.
Yes.
What does a professor say?
No, I think it totally that there is unisex, but I think
But I think there's
Yeah.
genuine
This is not
unisex.
unisex.
Like,
Yeah.
you know the last Hood by Air collection? Like, if we're going to speak about, like, people that brand a lot, like, that felt genuinely unisex. Felt like I could wear anything. I can't wear a bikini from this. I can't wear the shit the women are wearing in
I
this.
don't want you in a bikini.
I don't want to, but I couldn't even if I did.
But there's also a difference between androgyny and unisex.
Yeah,
I feel
true.
like the
Maybe
bio
I'm
is
getting
quite
that mixed up a
androgynous.
bit. Yeah.
I would say that there are things that are unisex and there's things that are androgynous.
Well, that's
Because
true.
bio is very androgynous.
When I hear unisex, I think I'm thinking actually androgynous.
Yeah, but there's things that both men and women could wear and wear equally. This isn't. I don't think this is even. I wouldn't say this is trying to be unisex.
No, I think they just know women's gets more press from the bat.
Yeah,
Like,
and they'll get more sales from it. And he's just done these things in pre-collection, so now he can do it in a different colourway.
I mean, to be
Quite quick
fair,
and easy.
Italian runways often have quite a few women on them, don't they?
they have what?
Yeah, but that's more a reference, you know, it's to show that there is a fil rouge between collection, and that's more a referencing to, you know, fashion is fashion for men and women, and then probably they show that it goes in the same direction as far as themes and contents, but it doesn't mean it's unisex, while there is a lot of androgynous. Like, for me, Prada was one of the masters of that.
That's kind of what I meant by genuine unisex. I meant like, this feels like it's just unisex or has women's and men's because they know that they sell more with women's, like you said.
So
They're not putting it in because it's like an aesthetical, like we have to have women's in there.
No, they don't have to have women's in there. It's London men's collection.
Exactly.
It's economy of scale on the catwalk cost.
Yeah.
No, it's not like, I mean, Yoji did that
Flowers
whole,
and the wine.
that whole men in skirts
Yeah.
Everyone's done
show,
that.
you know, and this is just about showing that you might be able to borrow a jacket and swap it around, but it's not really making that point. It's about branding it.
So I think we'll go to closing thoughts. Sam, maybe we'll start with you.
I'm interested in the future.
Yeah.
Not this though.
Yeah.
That'd be it, probably.
I think that's fair enough. Yeah. Francis?
Yeah, I feel the same, but it still feels like it's really sort of trying to work out what he wants to do with it. I mean, it's very, but I would just wish he'd push it harder and pick up on and be braver with it.
Yeah, it really feels like he is just finding his voice, which I'm surprised at.
Yeah, that's what. But I think it can be. It's easy to underestimate. You know that it can be really intimidating. Whoever you are, for however long, in the end, you're still a creative person who's suddenly been given an opportunity. So I'd be quite interested to see, but it could go either way.
I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't think creativity makes sense if it's for its own sake. And that's what disturbs me a little bit here. I think Jeremy Scott can be very creative for something else, and I would really love to see it on this brand, which I love and cherish.
I'm quite indifferent, like, you know, I wouldn't wear any of it. If my boyfriend wore any of it, he wouldn't be my boyfriend anymore. But what I'm saying, I don't know. I'd like to see more structure from him. I'd like to see. I would
That's
not
not
like to see my
indifferent.
overweight boyfriend in it. But
What about your gay best friend?
this one. No, I know, I don't mind it. I really don't mind. I'm quite indifferent to it. But I'd like to see more structure from him. You know, I remember a piece by Jeremy Scott that had one leg of a suit that long and then one that was that long on the other leg. And I just thought that's so weird. And everyone spoke about it at Izzy Blow's exhibition. I thought that was great. You would not get that nowadays. So I'd like to see more structure and a bit more shape.
Dom?
Not just prints.
Hope for more. I hope for more. I don't particularly like any of this collection. I think it's exciting for the brand that it's so out there now, and yeah, fingers crossed he changes for the better.
Cool. Thank you very much. Thank you, panel. Thank you.
Thanks.
Cool.